March has been my biggest buying month ever, and yet my portfolio still went down. With the Iran situation continuing to shake markets, oil prices surging, and global stocks taking hit after hit, it's been a rough ride to say the least. And for me personally, being based in the UAE, this one really hit home. My family and I have actually now relocated for the time being to Barcelona until things hopefully calm down very soon in the region. We're now safe, we're doing well, but definitely put things into perspective. And sometimes it's more than just your portfolio performance. But actually today, that's what I'm going to walk you through exactly what happened across all my various assets in my portfolio, what I bought, what went down the most, and why I'm still not worried too much, to be honest. In fact, I'm actually excited more than ever to keep on adding more to my various holdings. Quick disclaimer though, before we start, I'm not a financial advisor. This is just educational content based on my own experience. As always, do your own research. Right, so let me start with the bad news. In March alone, the portfolio dropped, as you can see, by 4.7%. This makes it now the 5th consecutive red month for my portfolio. 5 months in the row where my portfolio has gone backwards. So much for smart money with Kai. But as always, I'm really transparent on my investing journey. I show you what works, what doesn't. And as always, investing is never a straight line up. It's always going to be cyclical. And right now, I'm definitely feeling the painful part of the journey. But as always, a reminder for myself to zoom out and see the whole picture. Because my total portfolio, as you can see, still over 330,000 with almost 30,000 in gains. Now, obviously, that number was significantly higher a few months ago. But as I said, that's just part of the investing journey. Over time, it does fluctuate, but long term, you want to see your portfolio grow and compound. And also, when I go back, when I started tracking it, my portfolio was in 23 only $48,000, and now 3 years later, almost 10x the amount, which I'm really happy with. Of course, a lot of my own contributions, that's clear, but that also means it kept me focused and disciplined, right? Because if I wasn't that disciplined invested, I might have spent the money on useless things, right? But instead, I was disciplined investing and dollar cost averaging over time. So yeah, the short term is definitely painful, but the trajectory is still very much upward. And the key is not to panic and not to make emotional decisions during times like we're in right now. Now, I'm a big fan of diversifying, and here you can see my portfolio, which is split roughly into 4 main asset classes. Crypto makes up around 35%, which is mostly Bitcoin. Stocks around 35%, ETFs around 20%, and P2P lending platforms make up the remaining 10%. Now, I'm not tracking my cash in here, which actually by now is a significant holding, but for now I'm only tracking those asset classes, and it also doesn't include my real estate, which of course in value would be by far the highest amount across all my various holdings. Now, I do not only diversify across different asset classes, but also across different brokers, because I'm always a big fan of firstly trying different brokers and getting the most benefits out of each platform, but also just, spread the risk a little bit, right? All of the ones I'm using are very safe and regulated, but I like to, just spread my risks as always. So right now I'm using 3 main ones, which is of course eToro, where right now I have the biggest part of my holding sitting over here. I'm really happy with them. And my goal is to reach $250,000 of portfolio value, because then I become a diamond member, will get upgrade to a higher level. That will open up a lot new benefits to me. I'll be invited to some cool events and so forth. So that's my next goal. That's why for now I'm mostly investing on eToro platform. And then of course I have also interactive brokers, which I've been using from the beginning. It's a bit more harder to get used to for beginners, but really, really solid platform. And in fact, some really cool news, because it seems like you can now deposit your cryptocurrency on interactive brokers for them to keep custody of your crypto, which right now, most of it I hold on my Ledger hardware wallet. But honestly, I think it's really attractive because I trust interactive brokers so much, with my funds. I would love to have some of my crypto over there, because actually, while hardware wallets are the way to go to safeguard them, having it over here on a platform that I really trust, it makes things a little bit easier, especially now with traveling all around the world and so forth. There's definitely some benefits to having it on a centralized platform, but I'll make probably a future update video on this very soon. And then we have, of course, also Trading212, which is one of the most beginner-friendly platforms that you can possibly use. I haven't added to the portfolio for a while, but definitely once I hit the 250K over there, I want to then, continue to add to those 2 portfolios over here as well. But then you can see also here my Ledger holding, as I mentioned, next to another platform that I use to get some interest on my cryptocurrency. I would probably very soon have to move that across to Ledger, because right now with the Bitcoin prices being down, I'm really not too confident anymore having my funds on the cryptocurrency exchange. And lastly, we'll come to this in a moment, my P2P holding. So yeah, these are basically all the various portfolios that I'm tracking, all centralized in one dashboard, which is really cool through Snowball Analytics. If you want to check it out, got a link down in the description below. All right, now let me walk you through each asset class one by one. Let's start off with stocks because this is where most of the action was this month. This was my biggest buying month ever. So you can see all the various investments that I did in the month of March by percentage. By far the biggest one is actually in Emaar properties. I'll come to this in a moment. Based in the UAE, I really thought this is a great buying opportunity. I added some more to my P2P lending platform, Monefit SmartSaver, where I'm currently getting 7.5% interest on my money, which is really attractive. I'll come to this in a moment as well. I opened a new position in interactive brokers, which is quite exciting to be honest. I've been using them for so long. I just told you they added a new feature with crypto, which I think is going to be a real catalyst for the platform. And overall, they've been really compounding and doing really well. I think they're really onto something. They're not so loud and screaming and have all these nice, crazy offers that many other competitors have. But what they do have going for them is a really solid business model and platform that people trust and keep on adding and compounding their money and funds. And yeah, I mean, they've been really doing very well. So I'll be happy to add more to that position in the future. TSM, of course, in terms of AI, the biggest chip manufacturer in the world, absolutely essential, right? Yes, you have the geopolitical risk over there and tensions in the region, but for now, I still feel comfortable with it and happy to add more to the position in the future. And then as well, two other UAE stocks. First, Abu Dhabi Bank, the biggest bank in the UAE, as well as Emirates Telecom, one of the biggest, if not the biggest phone operator in the UAE, but also in the region, really starting to expand over there, as well as a couple of other stocks that you can see. So yeah, quite diversified, a lot of cash deployed, and obviously since I bought it, they dropped even further. It's of course hard to time it perfectly, but it definitely lowered my cost basis on some of those investments, especially on Emaar properties, which I already had in my portfolio. But of course, the stock kept on dropping significantly due to the Iran situation, and I went in with two separate buys following that. And for me, it's really a conviction buy. When a company, I believe in long term, drops by 23% because of geopolitical fears, not because of business fundamentals changed, that's when I want to be buying and not selling. Right, but let's look at my top winners and losers, starting off with the losing side. And there were quite a few this month. The biggest one was definitely Emaar Properties, which was down 23%, followed by Micron Technology, down 20%, and ADI down 12%. So definitely very, very painful across the board, pretty much most of my positions. But then again, I'm really not too bothered about it in the short term. Now, if this was the result after 5 years of investing in each of my positions, of course, I'll be a bit more worried that probably my investing thesis or strategy may not be correct. But since this is kind of temporary for me, I'm actually not too fussed about it. Now the winning side is significantly shorter, but we did have some of them. At least first Abu Dhabi Bank turned out to be slightly in the profit, which was nice to see, of course. Then Bitcoin managed to have a 2.6% growth, but that of course comes at the back of an already major price decline over the last few months. So nice to see at least a little bit of green. But then again, I'm definitely very much down from all-time highs, what I had in the portfolio where we are today. But again, it is what it is, right? It's part of the overall macroeconomic situation we're in right now. And as well, AMD squeezed out a small gain of just shy of 1%. On a positive note though, at least my YouTube channel numbers are still going up. So even if my stock portfolio refuses to cooperate, at least something in my life is showing a green chart. Now let me also double click on my UAE positions because this is really some important context. The Iran situation obviously had an outsized impact on anything connected to this region. The UAE and Dubai in particular have always prided themselves in their safety and stability. And honestly, they're doing an outstanding job keeping the citizens safe. But of course, temporarily, people are worried. That's normal, right? And when people are worried, stock prices reflect that accordingly. Emaar, one of the largest property developers in the UAE, the company behind famous buildings like Burj Khalifa and Dubai Mall, dropped 23% in a single month. That is significant. But here's how I think about it. The fundamentals of these companies as a whole have not changed. What has changed though is the sentiment, and sentiment is temporary. I'm very bullish on the region and fully expect the UAE to make a strong comeback once things have calmed down. And eventually I do believe we will reach some kind of deal. It might take a month, 2 months, 6 months, up to 1 year. I have no idea. Nobody knows. But I think eventually we're going to find some kind of agreement because I think that's what the world actually does need. It's not anymore just a regional conflict, but it really starts to have a global impact. So most countries around the world have a keen interest of getting this conflict sorted sooner rather than later. And that's exactly why I have conviction in it. And I doubled down, adding almost 1,000 shares of Emaar. I also started a new position, as I mentioned, in First Abu Dhabi Bank, the largest bank in the UAE, and Emirates Telecommunication, the country's major telecom player. Both of these pay healthy dividends, and I really see them as long-term holds that give me exposure to the UAE growth story, which I have no doubt will continue in the coming years. Now let's talk about the boring but beautiful part of the portfolio, my ETFs. I currently hold two main ETFs, S&P 500 ETF, tracking the 500 largest companies in the US, as well as the Nasdaq 100 ETF. Together, they make up around 20% of my total portfolio. And as you can see, they're actually performing really well. And that's why I'm always a big fan of ETF investing, right? Because if stock picking is not for you, which is very difficult, and again, especially markets like we're in right now, show you how hard it is, right? In bull markets, it's easy to be a genius stock picker because most of the stocks will go up, but especially in times we're in now, it really pays off to own broad diversified ETFs. At least some part of your portfolio, I think, would be good to have in ETFs, and that's why I'll continue to have them and will continue to add to it going forward. Now to the elephant in the room, that is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still my single largest holding at around 35% of my portfolio, and that's a big chunk. And honestly, it's probably a bit too much concentration in one asset, but I have held this position for a long time and the cost basis is really favorable actually. So this month's Bitcoin actually did all right compared to everything else. Funny how the most volatile asset in my portfolio was actually the calmest one this month. You can see here the total value of it, and at some stage it was already over $200,000. Now we're down to only 116,000. I haven't made any additions to it in recent times, and I'm actually not planning to add any more to it from my own money because it's already such a big chunk of my overall holding. As I mentioned, I keep most of my Bitcoin on a Ledger hardware wallet, but I am considering moving some of it, if I can, to interactive brokers, because I think it would really offer quite a few convenience factors for me, and as well to once again diversify across different platforms. Now, here's the part I really enjoy. When the stock market is wild and unpredictable, there's something incredibly calming about having a portion of your money earning steady, predictable income every single day. And I currently have 3 places where I keep my cash, which earns meaningful interest. In the UAE, where I have my bank account paying me 6% on my dirhams, which of course is really attractive. And then 2 other places that I'm tracking over here, and that's Bondora Go and Grow, where I get 6% on my euros, and Monefit SmartSaver, where I do get 7.5% interest on my euros sitting over there per year, paid out every single day. As you can see over here on the dividend calendar, where I track the interest as dividend in a way, where I get now 2,000 euros just from those 2 platforms together every single month. The amounts over here and keep on increasing as I'm also adding more to it. Plus, of course, the compound interest to start kicking off, right? The amount's getting larger and I get more interest on a larger amount. So it keeps on adding up over time. And yeah, basically, as you can see over here, every single day, both of the platforms pay me interest into my accounts. And that obviously compound growth, snowball growth, my overall holding, which is really nice to see. You can see earlier it was only €4.82 per day. Now I'm already over here, if I go to the end of the month, at €5.25. And a few months ago, it was only at €3. So it keeps on growing over time. So whether the stock market is up or down, that money keeps on flowing in, which I really appreciate. It's very steady, very predictable. And that's also nice to have that sort of solid foundation in place. And that's why I'm always a big fan, again, of diversifying, right? If I had all my money in just Bitcoin or tech stocks, it would swing way more than having it a little bit more diversified, as I've shown you. Now let me talk a bit more about Monefit SmartSaver, because I recently made a full deep dive review video about them, which you can check out afterwards. I've been really happy with the platform overall. I currently have over 14,600 euros sitting over here on the platform. So that's my own hard-earned money, which I trust with the platform, right? And I wouldn't do that if I wouldn't believe in them, right? Because, obviously I want to make sure my money is safe. And that money right now, as you can see, is earning 7.5% interest over there. Now keep in mind, it's right now only for European investors and euro-based currency. This month alone, I added another 2,000 euros to the platform. And when I look at my passive income diversification, Monefit now accounts for 27.3% of all my passive income across the entire portfolio. The amounts between Bondora and Monefit are pretty much similar. However, due to the higher interest, it makes it the single largest contributor of my passive income right now. And what I love about it, it's so simple to use, right? There's only a few things you can do. As soon as you deposit your funds over there, either via card or bank transfer, it will arrive over here and immediately it will start earning interest, which is really cool. You can also have passive income, which is really nice. So every single month, basically, when you click into this, you enable it, it will pay you out the earned interest to your bank account, right? So it's really nice. You really have the feeling of getting paid every single month. But in my case, I actually want to keep it on the platform because I want to benefit from compound growth over time. So I don't enable it, but you could do that and it would be paid to you free of charge, right? You're not being charged any fee. It will just be paid on the first of every month to your account. You could also earn even higher interest if you want to lock it up for a little bit longer. They have something what they call vaults. If you want to lock up your cash for 24 months, you can earn up to 10.52% interest on your money, which is really awesome. Or a little bit shorter, maybe only 6 months, then it would still be a respectable 8.33%, right? Which if you compare it to historic returns of the S&P 500, It's pretty close to it actually. And one thing I really like, there's no lockup period on the main account, right? Up to 1,000 euros, I can withdraw instantly, and anything more than 1,000 euros, there's a withdrawal period of up to 10 days. Just keep that in mind. So if you want to check them out, use my link in the description down below or scan the QR code on screen and you'll get a welcome bonus up to 0.25% on your deposits over the first 90 days. So you can deposit, maybe a small amount on the first day, which I did as well. I usually put like 10 euros or whatever, right? Just to see how you feel about it. Let it pay you the first day of interest. If you like it, if you're comfortable with it, then you can keep on adding over the first 90 days. And on any addition you make, you'll get a 0.25% bonus with my link. But of course, keep in mind, they don't have bank protection, right? It's a P2P lending platform. So naturally also has slightly higher risks than keeping your money in a bank account. But in return, you also do end up getting higher interest rates on your money, right? So it's always risk versus reward. But if you want a full deep dive, check out the full review, which I also leave a link to in the description down below so you can check it out afterwards. At the same time, I will continue using Bondora as well. I've been using Bondora for even longer period. I'm equally happy with them. They pay me around 6%. But the cool thing is I can withdraw even higher amounts. Now, when we moved back to Barcelona, I needed a larger euro amount. So I could withdraw a couple of thousand euros very quickly. And it was in my Revolut account pretty much instantly. So I really appreciate that. And that's why I like to split between both of them pretty much equally for time being. Bondora for the money I might need to have access to quickly. And Monefit for the money I'm happy to sit there and earn even higher rate. With this, across my entire portfolio, I'm now generating around $4,300 in passive income annually. That consists of dividend from my various stocks and ETFs, as well as my P2P holdings. So the question is, where do we go from here? And in fact, my thesis hasn't changed one bit. I'm still extremely bullish on AI and technology for the long term. Companies that are in my portfolio like Nvidia, AMD, Alphabet, Amazon, and TSM, they are building infrastructure that will power the next decade. Yes, the stock price are down right now, but the businesses are stronger than ever and the fundamentals are looking very solid. And let's be honest, AI is not going anywhere. It's only gonna get more. I rely completely on AI to run my various businesses, my personal life at this stage. I'm a strong believer in it and I want to put my money where my mouth is and in the process also benefit financially as an investor into it. So basically, I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing, dollar cost average into high conviction positions every single month. Not timing the market, not panicking when we have 5 red months in a row, just consistently buying strong companies at prices that I think look like bargains 5 years from now, where we wish we would have bought more when the prices were low as they are right now. Things will calm down eventually, they always do, and when they do, I want to be fully invested and ready. If you want to follow along with my portfolio in real time, you can do that. I share my full portfolio publicly, updated live. I'll leave a link in the description down below, so feel free to check it out. But let me know in the comments what has been your best and worst performing stock or investment in March. Happy to hear from you. If you enjoyed this transparent look at my portfolio, make sure to subscribe and like the video so you're not missing any of my future monthly updates. Next up, check out this video right here. As always, thanks for watching, stay healthy, get wealthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.